Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Tea Time with Mr. T. As always, joining me, the Robin to my Batman, the Superboy to my Superman, the Jelly to my Peanut Butter, George the Stuffed Gorilla. Say hello, George. Hello, boys and girls. All right, George, there you go. Welcome back, boys and girls. What an amazing year we've had so far, and we're winding down. We've got a book to read today. Yes, we do. But before we get there, we have our teacups. We put them up. We have our pinkies up also because we are so very fancy. And we come in for clink. All right, boys and girls. I have a story today for you. We have a story for you that involves a forest. It involves a cabin or a cottage, a place where people live. It involves big, furry. Oh. It must be my story again. Hello, boys and girls. Yes, it's me, Red, the star of today's story. No, Red, it's not. It's not your story. What? But it's about a forest and a cottage. Yeah, Sonny, that's what I heard too. Granny, hey, that's what I heard. Sure sounds like our story. And there's a furry creature in there. Yeah, it's gotta be Bixby the wolf, right? The big bad wolf. Yeah, it's gotta be. It has to be. No, you know what? Sometimes the settings to stories are the same. And sometimes when it sounds like it's very similar, but then when we read the story, it changes up. Why don't you guys have a seat and you can listen? Oh, sounds good, Sandy. I'll just come on over here. Excuse me, boys and girls. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, and Granny. Okay, hopefully she didn't step on anybody. I'll go this way. All right, sounds good. All right, so it's not Little Red Riding Hood. No, it sure sounded like it, didn't it? But no, that is not what we're going to be doing today. Oh, hello, boys and girls. Hello. Mrs. Duck, what are you doing here? Well, I just figure if it's not about Red and Granny and Bixby, it must be about me, the great, the amazing, the wonderful Mrs. Duck. Well, Mrs. Duck, you are great, amazing, and wonderful, but it's not about you either. But that doesn't mean that you can't sit and listen. Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll go have a seat, but are you sure you don't want to read a story about me? Maybe next time, Mrs. Duck. Okay. All right. This is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. That's right, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This is retold and illustrated by James Marshall. Once there was a little girl called Goldilocks. What a sweet child, said someone new in town. That's what you think, said a neighbor. One morning, Goldilocks' mother sent her to buy muffins in the next village. You must promise not to take the shortcut through the forest, she said. I've heard that bears live there. I promise, said Goldilocks. But to tell the truth, Goldilocks was one of those naughty little girls who do exactly as they please. And here it says, shortcut. Danger. Very risky. Not a good idea. Turn back. Go the other way. Meanwhile, in a clearing deeper inside the forest, in a charming house all on their own, a family of brown bears was sitting down to breakfast. Patooey, cried big old Papa Bear. This porridge is scalding. Scalding means very, very hot. I've burned my tongue. I'm dying, cried Baby Bear, who was, oh, now really, said Mama Bear, who was of medium size. That's quite enough. I know, said Papa Bear. Why don't we go for a spin while the porridge is cooling? Excellent, said Mama Bear. So they got on their rusty old bicycle and off they went. He's saying tra-la. A few minutes later, Goldilocks arrived at the bear's house. She walked right in without even bothering to knock. On the dining room table were 3 inviting bowls of porridge. "I don't mind if I do," said Goldilocks, helping herself to the biggest bowl. But the porridge in the biggest bowl was much too hot. "Patooey!" cried Goldilocks, and she spat it out. Next, she tasted the porridge in the medium-sized bowl, but that porridge was much too cold. Then Goldilocks tasted the porridge in the little bowl, and it was just right. Neither too hot nor too cold. In fact, she liked it so much that she gobbled it all up. Feeling full and satisfied, Goldilocks thought it would be great fun to have a look around. Right away, she noticed a lot of coarse brown fur everywhere. "They must have kitties," she said. In the parlor, there were 3 chairs. "I don't mind if I do," she said, climbing onto the biggest one. But the biggest chair was much too hard, and she just couldn't get comfortable. Next, she sat in the medium-sized chair. But that chair was much too soft, and she thought she might never get out of it. Then Goldilocks sat in the little chair, and that was just right. Neither too hard nor too soft. In fact, she liked it so much that she rocked and rocked until the chair fell completely to pieces. Now all that rocking left Goldilocks quite tuckered out. "I could take a little snooze," she said. So she went up to look for a comfy place to nap. Upstairs were 3 beds. "I don't mind if I do," said Goldilocks, and she got into the biggest one. But the head of the biggest bed was much too high. Next, she tried the medium-sized bed, but the head of that bed was much too low. Then Goldilocks tried the little bed, and it was just right. Soon she was all nice and cozy and sound asleep. She did not hear the bears come home. The 3 bears were mighty hungry, but when they went in for breakfast, they could scarcely believe their eyes. "Somebody has been in my porridge," said Papa Bear. "Somebody has been in my porridge," said Mama Bear. "Somebody has been in my porridge," said Baby Bear. "And eaten it all up." In the parlor, the 3 bears were in for another little surprise. "Somebody's been sitting in my chair," said Papa Bear. "Somebody's been sitting in my chair," said Mama Bear. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said Baby Bear, "and broken it to smithereens." The 3 bears went upstairs on tiptoe, not knowing what they would discover. At first, everything seemed fine, but then Papa Bear lay down on his big brass bed. "Somebody has been lying on my bed," he cried, and he was not amused. "Egads," cried Mama Bear, "somebody's been lying in my bed." "Look," cried Baby Bear, "somebody's been lying in my bed, and she's still there." Look at this down here. If you look closely, there's some of our math shapes. Do you remember what shape that is? "Now see here," roared Papa Bear. Goldilocks woke up with a start, and her eyes nearly popped out of her head. But before the heirs could demand a proper explanation, Goldilocks was out of bed, out the window, and on her way home. "Who was that little girl?" asked Baby Bear. "I have no idea," said Mama Bear, "but I hope we never see her again." And they never did. All right. right, so that was Goldilocks and the Three Bears. All right, hope you liked that. I have a couple questions for you about the story. Number one, who were the characters? Okay, and what was the setting in this story? What was the setting? And what happened at the beginning of the story? What happened in the middle of that story? And finally, what happened at the end of that story? And why do you think Goldilocks never returned? Why do you think Goldilocks never returned? What do you think, George? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's because she didn't have a chair to sit on anymore because she broke it. You think that's why? Yeah, that's why. Could be, Mrs. Duck, but you know what? I can't wait to see what the boys and girls say. Oh, me either. I love their answers. Me too. Me too. Well, boys and girls, it is time to say goodbye for us for now. Before we do that, we need to grab our teacups. We're going to hold it up with our pinky up because we are so very fancy. And we're going to come in for the clink. All right. Boys and girls, we'll see you next time. So did you like that? Oh, yes, I loved it. It was great.